Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers and sojourners of truth, the 144, the chosen of the chosen of the chosen few, especially that third degree chosen few. You know who you are. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am Akila Textry, in the divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live from none other than 5D, the fifth dimension. Stand up 5D wherever you are, stand up 4D, and high level 3D, right? We don't discriminate as long as you are on a soul journey. I'm here for it with you, right? As well as these mosquitoes. You know, we in the summertime, happy summer solstice. So you may see me flashing them off of me, swatting them, moving them. But I got to do this. I wanted to do it yesterday. It's been very busy with the workshop that I have going on. So thank you for those who have joined. Again, always as usual, reporting to you live from this 5D, which means what? I bring you the news to infuse if you so choose to infuse with that light. All right, so let's light up the light grid. Thank you for those who are on the light grid doing what you do, whether intentional or not. You know, some people may not, you may not even know that you're on the light grid. If you are working on your soul in any way, shape, or form, you are on the light grid. Soul excavation, shadow work, anything that is ascending your soul, any soul ascension or timeline jumping, you're moving the timeline, you're expanding your consciousness, therefore you're activating the light grid, you're helping to activate the light grid. So thank you for those who are doing it, and intentional, those who are intentionally working on their local light grid in their area, in whatever way that you are, right? We appreciate you because we are expanding this 5D consciousness, right? So happy summer solstice. Before I get into it, let me make sure I do any housekeeping. Is there any? I'm getting to all the comments. Those I've been backed up on commenting videos. Thank you for your patience. As I say that, let me remind you, please like, subscribe, share, comment if you dare. And with that, I have been catching up to the comments. Those of you who commented on the video with Saturn, the rapture of Saturn, I'm doing those right now. So if you check back, you'll see that I'm there. I have maybe 4 more videos to catch up, but I'm getting there, right? And bear with me because preparing for this workshop at the same time of finishing the calendar. Woohoo! Those of you who have been with me since the time of me talking about the calendar, these mosquitoes are not playing. They are so deliberate and persistent. But yes, I've been talking about it for quite some time, since about 2022, since I've been on the light grid intentionally, working on the Declaration of Independence, the 5D independence. I've done a video about that too, if you look back around that time, 2022, February 22222, right? With the Pluto return, 5D independence. So since then, I've realized this 5D calendar has got to come out, and it's expanded, it's grown. And last year I've been really talking about it for those who have been in the 5D group with me, doing our workshops and our waves, which are an extended workshop. Now finally I'm completing it. And so earlier this year, those who were with me speaking about the respiriting, I had been speaking about the calendar, knowing that we're no longer celebrating the world's calendar coming into New Year in January, when we know the New Year's in spring. So I had been talking about the calendar around then, letting you know it's coming. My goal was to have it by March, which is our New Year, spring, but it was not. But right now, after the first quarter, we've only had the first quarter. We're not halfway through the year yet. For those who start in spring, it's only the first quarter. So, ta-da, it is ready for summer solstice. So I'm going to have it. Bear with me till I can get it technology-wise where you can order it. Right now, it's going to be when I'm in local places, local community events, which I'm going to this weekend, a 4 Seasons event. So I will have it there. I will show you the printed calendar. I'm so excited for it. So look out for that 5D calendar that is coming to a 5D corner near you. Hey. So with that said, happy again summer solstice. So I'm gonna get into that, speaking about the summer solstice. Honestly speaking, I must say, ooh, look at that beautiful pink. I love that sun setting, right? Speaking of summer solstice, it is about what, almost 9 o'clock, and we still got light. So you know we are in the midst of the summer, right at the point, at the peak, there you go, where the summer solstice is about when the sun stands still, right? Sol meaning the sun, and stis is being still, right? So just like in the winter, this is what I was going to say, I'm more versed with the winter. So for those of you who've seen that, you can, I'll see if I can remember to put the link here, speaking about the winter solstice, where it is about the death to the ego as the sun dies, right? Woo, I feel like they just coming out more. So excuse me, you're gonna see me really doing this, like, get out of here, get out of here. So in the evening, I'm saying in the evening because in the evening they getting me right now. I really should have came out earlier. In the winter solstice, around that time, this is when it's said that the ego dies. You know, the sun dies for 3 days, and that's, the sun is our will, right? I have to take this metaphysically, bring it into the soul, because for me everything is a soul experience, right? So the sun represents our conscious phase of mind and the will to do, right? The subconscious is the moon, the feminine energy, and it is our intuition, right? It is the understanding. So it's will and understanding, if you look at it like that. Ego and intuition is will and understanding. So around the time of the winter solstice, when they say the sun dies, it is when it is a death to ego experience, and we need our misappropriated ego to die 3 times a death, and be able to rise in our wisdom, right? You might even be seeing them now flying around. Be able to rise in our wisdom after we've gained our 3 gifts. That's why that story they have, you know, when Christ was born, because it's about the Christ consciousness in you, which is, you know, is when your wise ego is risen. The Christ consciousness in you is what allows that to happen, right? So that is the Heru, the hero. The Heru is your Christ conscious or your super conscious. And so when it is risen, this is when they talk about the birth of Christ. I've gone through all that in that video, so I don't want to go too deep, but just to kind of give a, this is what I'm versed on, so it's easier to explain that. But just as that Christ consciousness is risen, and they say when the Christ is born, then they brought 3 gifts. Those 3 gifts were the understanding, insight, and intuition that allows you to rise in your wisdom, your wise ego. So ultimately that's what we get, what we're working on in the respiriting season, which is the whole winter season, right? This brings me into summer. So in the summer, it would be the opposite. Instead of death to ego, it's rise the ego. It is to the risen ego in its most exalted state, or what I say, in the sun's most risen state. And it is still for 3 days in this exalted state. So where the sun is, what is the sun? Our will to do. So what are we doing, right? Where the winter solstice is more of a respite, to not do anything. Put your ego down. Do not do anything too much. That's why we shouldn't be in the middle of winter ready to get out there and, oh, Happy New Year. That's to throw you off. It is, we are supposed to be at a stillness, at a hibernation. Nature hibernates for a reason. When you follow nature, you'll see there's a reason why, you know, everything dies. That's when, at that time, it's the underworld. And then around spring, when we spring forward, the resurrection, where they come up with Easter, right? This is where we have the resurrection, right? And we really are, you know, in the fullness of our wise ego, bringing in our wise ego. And then we work with that resurrected wise ego for the first, you know, quadrant, those first 3 months of spring. Now that we're in summer and we're at the peak, now the sun is at its peak, and now it's time to exalt. What have you been working on, right? This is a reminder. Bring yourself to the responsibility. It's an opportunity to really focus, right? Have that light as we're still in those 3 days when there's so much light in the day, there's so much to be done, we are to focus on the will to do what we are creating, what is to be created. You know, when we hit that Leo energy coming up, that's a fire. That's a fire of creation. It's time to be creative. So we, you know, we join that part. We step into that and we embrace that. So that's what this is all about, exalting the ego. So this summer solstice, where winter solstice is death to ego, summer solstice is wise ego, is exalt the ego and the will to do, right? So what I got from this, I'm going to share the download, the little download that I got with you, and then, you know, we'll go from there. I'll see what else is to share, you know, from that. So being in our happy solstice, this is a time when the soul, right, S-O-L, soul or sun, or our soul, right, is stice or stis, which is still for 3 days and in its most risen point of view according to our position of our solar perspective. From our galactic center as Mama Earth, you know, not Mama Earth, sorry, Mama Universe, or the Newt as I call it. The sun is, and excuse my lack of reference, but this is exactly how it came to me in the message. The sun nuts on the earth through its rays of light, right? Just keep your minds clean. I'm saying it in a certain way, but the sun is like it just newts. Let's say newts, right? Instead of nuts on the earth, newts on the earth, right? And it's all of its rays of light to activate the star seeds and transmit its codes into the risen man, right? There is an intended focus on what is being or to be created. What is springing forth from spring into summer is the question. What is springing forth? What are we springing forth, right? And in this risen man that we're getting, notice we're getting all the codes. Remember, the sun gives us light, energy, and information. So this is where the 3 days of it being still, it's focus, it's concentrated light. It's as if we're getting solar flares, which some of you know we've been getting. Kind of consider it that, to activate what? The star seeds, right? To spew out star seeds, right? As it newts on the earth, right? And you know, I just found that so funny. I was like, okay, universe, I get it. The sun nuts on the earth, it newts on the earth. So coming from the newt, right? Coming from the galactic center, Mama Earth, it as she releases on through the sun, because the sun is our, I want to say like our looking point, our looking glass, like it is the translator, it's the transmitter, it's our server. I heard someone say that. That's the best thing. It is our server, like how Chrome is your server, right? Our main motherboard is Mama Universe, the galactic center, but the sun is our server and how we get our light, energy, information. So this is in its most exalted state. Ooh, thank you for the wind, ancestors. So this is in its most exalted state, that there is an intended focus on whatever it is that we're creating, which at this point, those of us who are looping up, who are evolving and ascending, this is an opportunity to take this moment to do what needs to be done. Anything that you have had on your plate ready, especially since spring, you know, reflect on that. What is it that was shown to you? The risen man. What do you need to be doing? This is a time to utilize these 3 days. I would take these 3 days every day to do something. As we're entering into Cancer, it's entering into the home life. Cancer represents the home, the nurturing. As we're coming out of Gemini or Jehudi, it is where the messages of wisdom, see, at the wisdom that we've been getting from the wisdom in the wind, as wind weavers that we were being, right? What is it that we are to do with that? What are we weaving, right? So exalt. And so I keep doing this because I see Ka Kemetically. That's my, you know, my ancient ones, my ancient ancestor in my blood, the Kemetic ones. This is where I get my information and my DNA, you know, code encryption when I do my soul work. And as I go within and I'm asking, what is it to show me during this summer solstice? Because the winter one, like, I got that, but the summer solstice, you know, help me out here. So I got a little bit also listening to, I must say, Jamal Robinson. He had a nice piece on it as well, that highlighted some things as well. So if you get a chance, you can listen to that too. I like the way he breaks down the story, the Kabbalah, the Kabbalism. I usually don't look at things through that aspect, even as he breaks down the tree of life, the Kabbalic tree of life, which is this. But I go by the Kemetic tree of life. To me, this is the Kemetic tree of life. So I'm not really that versed on Kabbalah. So as he broke it down, it was very interesting in tandem with the metaphysical breakdown of the Bible, which I love, because I don't read it literally. It's very metaphysically, but really understanding in his explanation. And I don't want to take from that. So if you get a chance, listen to that. I'm just going to go with what the divine gives me. But it was helpful in reminding me, oh, okay. And as I asked my ancestors, it was like, oh, okay. It is the opposite, as they were showing me. You're well versed on the winter one. This is the opposite. What are we doing? We're exalting. And they were showing me the hands, the Ka. And Ka is representing in Kemet spirit, right? Sa also represents spirit, right? Ra is obviously the light, the sunlight. Ka is how we praise or exalt spirit, right? Through the sunlight. This is why you may see them doing this a lot, or raising their hands, or, you know, it's not just about worshiping the sun at a 3D level. It's really about understanding the spirit, the Ka connected to that, the exalted light. There you go. Exalting praise in form of a connection, right? And what we're getting, the information, it's deeper than we know. It's not just praising like that. It's more like it's receptive, it's receiving. Notice it's not like this. It is open arms. And this is where we, speaking of energy wise, those who know energy and Reiki, as I'm a Reiki master, this is where we give and receive energy. Here is one of the major points, and also the soles of our feet. So as you raise this, there's a deeper meaning to that in the connection to spirit, as you exalt spirit, right? So this is seen as more as an exaltation of spirit. And so what I say with that also is a phrase, a Kemetic phrase of Sa, Sakem, Sahu. And Sa is also spirit, but it's more like the breath of life, the spirit that moves through us, that essence that moves through us, right? And that's what we are first and foremost. And then Sekem is that life force energy, the animated life force energy, right? So the Sa is the breath of life that just is, right? It is the divine energy. You can call it God, right? The God in you. Sekem is the animated life force energy that moves through us. So it is the Reiki in us, because that's also the explanation of Reiki, the energy that moves through us, the Chi, the Ki. There's many different words for it, but it moves through us, right? And that's the 3D, what animates us to be 3D creatures in this world, right? Not 3D meaning bad, but just being animated and moving through life. That's 3D in this world. And then Sahu is spiritual awareness. So Sahu would be when the spirit has risen through the Sekem, through the life force energy, through our 3D existence, as we expand and expand. Every time we have a death to rebirth, expansion, which is what it takes to rebirth, is a death. So every time we have like a death to rebirth, not literally that you die and leave this earth physically, but a death to rebirth experience is a Sahu, right? That's a transition. That is when you have now Sahu'd into the spiritual realms, right? So this is on our way to the Sahu, right? This is where we exalt. We put up our Ka and we're exalting our Ka through the Sa and the Sakem, right? And eventually getting us to the Sahu, the exalted, not exalted, but the spiritual awareness, the higher aspect. So this is what we're doing as we exalt our spirit, exalt our soul, exalt our I am, right? And its risen wisdom. So there's a little bit more that I got. It says, as we move into the second quadrant of our cyclical year, the sun carries the message from the wisdom of the wind, the Tahuti that we're coming out of, the Gemini season. So from the wisdom of the wind that moves over the face of the waters to procreate and nurture, procreate or pre-create, and nurture what we are bringing forth in our risen light, right? We are evolving within the physical spectrum to expand our consciousness into the spiritual spectrum. And what I mean by that is there is the physical, the first half of our zodiac, of, I don't like to say zodiac, but our cyclical, our astrological cycle. The first 6 months are the physical aspect. And if you get a chance to listen to Sister Myra, she breaks that down beautifully, right? She does it more holistically. I look at it more incrementally, but coupled with how she looks at it, I was able to get even a deeper understanding. And I will have to do a course to break that down because I need a diagram to really show it. However, as she says, in the holistic aspect, the first 6 months are physical, the second 6 months are spiritual. This is holistic. Remember, everything is layered. So don't get to, for those of you who know it otherwise, don't worry, calm down. She's still right, and so are you. Because you may say, well, out of those first 6 months, there are certain signs or houses that are also spiritual, which is true. So that is more incrementally. And this is why I said incrementally, you have to look at the elements. Incrementally, the fire and the air signs are more, let's say, physical or masculine. Like, all of these names are synonymous. You have to understand that physical is synonymous with masculine, is synonymous with positive, right? And spiritual is more synonymous with the feminine, is more synonymous with the negative, right? Not negative meaning bad, but as in the negative charge, because we're either positive, we have both positive and negative charge moving through us all, just like a battery, right? Positive and negative to make it go, to make the energy flow, right? So we live in a universe filled with positive and negative charges. We came here with it like that, and because of that negative positive charge, we have come through that, we exist in that, and we too are both negative and positive charge, which means we both hold masculine, feminine energies, physical, spiritual, all of that. You know, we both have all of that. I also term it creativity and receptivity. Creativity is more the masculine, the physical, and the positive, and receptivity is more the feminine, the spiritual, the negative, right? All of that is synonymous. So either way that you hear me use those words interchangeably, just know what they mean. So I say that to say this: the first 6 months, as we know, are as they are known to be physical, right? This is the point now where we allow, coming into the Cancer season, we're tapping into more of the, as we nurture and procreate, we're tapping more into the physical, right? Sorry, not the physical, the spiritual, a little bit more of the feminine, which is the Cancer, what Cancer brings. Because Cancer has, being that it is a water sign, it has more incrementally, it has more of a negative charge, or what we would say is spiritual. So it's like the opening. It's the opening for us to be nurturing, be more creative, procreative, and pre-creative, if you get what I'm saying. And so in our evolving, in our evolution, as we're coming in this cycle, coming from this end up, there is a rising we're coming into the spiritual, because the next 6 months is going to be spiritual. So this is a preparation for that Sahu. That's what I meant by that. So as we are in the Sakem, in the life force energy, we are preparing ourselves to get to that next half, which becomes more spiritual. And it is when we're tapping into the Sahu of our, risen state, coming towards the winter season, right? So we work all this first half, let's say these first 3 quadrants, right? From spring through summer through fall, those 3 quadrants, which will be considered 9 months, right? We work those all the way through till we get to the winter solstice, and then it's time for a death to ego, right? So this is the physical side. This is more the human side, or the man side, as Jamal so eloquently spoke about the John side of it, where John represents more of the human side. So this is that part where it's time for the decrease, right? Coming from the summer solstice, the sun is in its most risen point, and from here on out, what happens? It goes into decrease. So it's decreasing the man Although he's building himself and it's the risen man, it's risen to the point where he is decreasing in flesh. There we go. So that was what you may understand, because it's like, how are we decreasing if we're in exalting and rising? We're in our most exalted state, to know it is a pivotal point, to know that it is time to start moving more into the spiritual, right? So we'll work through that, through this quadrant here, and when we get to Libra, when we get to the Libra aspect, that is the beginning of the next side, the spiritual side. So by then we're working more in the spiritual side, leading up to the winter solstice, when it's okay, now death to ego. Now you should be ready to shed that old ego, right? And then we do it all again and cycle back around again, right? So from the equinox, that would be something else. I think I'm gonna wait to the equinox to break that down. Let's just stick with the summer solstice and know that we're exalting our spirit. So this is inviting us to be a part of creating. We're in the waters. We're in the Cancer, which is about home. The waters can be doing two things. It's either raging waters, or it is waters of life that is bringing life, that is ready to, from the waters of life to bring forth more life, right? Some of it may require some destruction first. It depends on you. It all depends on what you're doing. But this is a time that is inviting us to exalt. So any practical activity that I would say is do anything that exalts your wise man, right? Do anything that exalts spirit in your wise man, to do the things in your physical that needs to be done, that prepares you more into the spiritual. And take that in however it resonates with your soul. I would say take these 3 days to really be still in your soul. And as you're in your soul, as you're in your soul, you're exalting that risen man in you. That means do the things, focus, find a focal point. Any responsibilities that you may have left undone. This is a time in these 3 days to really do the responsible things that you have on your list to do. Like right now, as I said, finishing, I'm in the middle of the workshop. I'm very creative right now, in creative mode, finishing the calendar, right? And also in the home life. If you haven't gotten a chance to do your spring cleaning, that would be me. I'm utilizing this time and this opportunity of the summer solstice to do that, to move the things out of the way that need to move out of the way, so that I can continue to exalt my wise man onto spirit, right? Exalt your spirit, Ka, right? So that you can move into your Sa, Sekem, Sahu. Sahu is what we want to go into, right? So with that, I'm going to close that out there. Because the mosquitoes, as you can see them now, they flying across, they getting me. So a reminder, if you're interested in the workshop, still feel free, you can comment your email. That's the best way for me to send you the link, and you can get right in, even if it's the last day. We got 3 more days left. If not, the next one is in 3 more months in September. Also look out for the ebook, Cosmos and Me, and look out. Is there anything else to look out for? The calendar, I will let you know and show you. Really excited. That's what I am focused on in this summer solstice, having this calendar complete. And once this is the first one, so once this is out of the way, it'll be that much easier for the next one to be ready by springtime. I guarantee it. All right. So with that said, mosquitoes, go to bed. Love you all. Please remember, again, like, subscribe, share, comment if you dare. We want to keep the algorithms going. Continue to keep your comments coming, and I will respond as soon as I get to them. Most likely when this workshop is over, I'll be able to catch up to a lot of them. With that said, love you all. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out, and be the candle that lights the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Peace, love, and light. Summer solstice, exalt your spirit.